The day she asked me to stay, the sun was still high, spilling through the curtains like it didn't know how heavy the house felt inside. Grief has a way of making ordinary afternoons feel dangerous, like one wrong step could shatter everything. I remember standing in the doorway, shoes still on, realizing that some moments quietly change who you are forever, even before the night arrives. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of being there for someone when it matters most, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today. Comment your thoughts and subscribe to the channel Kindness Touch. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that are still hurting. My name is Harris, and until that afternoon, I thought I understood loss. I had lost small things before, like opportunities, friendships that faded, and a sense of direction after college. But nothing prepared me for watching my best friend Ayan fade from this world in a hospital room filled with daylight that felt cruelly normal. He had been the kind of person who laughed loudly, planned trips he never took, and believed tomorrow always had something better waiting. When he was gone, the world did not pause, and that was the most painful part. Cars still passed outside, children still shouted in the street, and the sun still rose like it always had. After the funeral, people came in waves, bringing food, soft words, and sympathetic nods. By afternoon, they left just as quietly. What remained was the house, echoing with memories, and Ayan's mother, Samina, sitting near the window where the light fell gently across her face. She looked smaller than I remembered, as if grief had physically taken pieces of her away. Her hands rested in her lap, still and uncertain, like she no longer trusted them to do anything useful. I had known Samina for years. She was the kind of mother who made extra food because she assumed someone might be hungry. She asked about my dreams, remembered my favorite tea, and scolded us both with equal affection when we stayed out too late. Seeing her like this felt wrong, like seeing a strong building suddenly hollow. I wanted to leave, to escape the heaviness pressing on my chest, but something in her eyes made my feet stay planted. The afternoon stretched on, filled with the hum of a ceiling fan and distant traffic. Samina finally looked up at me, and in her expression was a quiet plea, not loud or desperate, but fragile. She asked me to stay with her tonight, not because she needed help, but because the thought of being alone terrified her. She did not say all of that, but grief teaches you how to hear what words cannot carry. I told her she did not have to be alone anymore, saying it felt simple, but meaning it felt enormous. I was not offering to fix anything, because I knew I could not. I was offering presence, something I barely knew how to give. Inside I was afraid of doing or saying the wrong thing, afraid of confronting pain that mirrored my own. But fear felt selfish in the face of her loneliness. Daylight slowly softened into evening, but the sun was still there, bright enough to keep the world visible. We moved through the house quietly, each room holding echoes of Ayan's life. His shoes were still by the door. His books sat uneven on the shelf. In his room, sunlight spilled across the bed where he used to lie scrolling through his phone, dreaming out loud. Samina paused there longer than anywhere else, breathing slowly, as if each breath required permission. That night was not filled with dramatic moments. There were no speeches or sudden revelations. There was just shared silence, cups of untouched tea and the steady passage of time. Grief does not rush. It settles in layers, and sometimes the bravest thing you can do is sit inside it without trying to escape. As morning came, daylight returned like a promise. Samina looked exhausted, but something in her posture had shifted. She moved with slightly more purpose, as if knowing she was not alone had given her a reason to stand. We ate breakfast quietly, the sound of spoons against plates oddly comforting. Outside, the world continued, indifferent but persistent. Over the next days, I kept coming back. At first, I told myself it was temporary, that she would soon find her footing again. But each visit revealed new challenges. Paperwork piled up on the table, bills that Ayan used to handle, decisions that felt impossible. Samina struggled with nights most of all, but during the day her grief showed in quieter ways. She forgot to eat. She stared out the window for long stretches. She spoke to Ayan's photograph as if he might answer. I struggled too. Watching her pain reopened my own. Some days I left feeling drained, questioning whether my presence made any difference at all. I missed my own routines, my distractions, the comfortable numbness I had built around myself. There were moments when I considered stepping back, convincing myself that professionals or relatives could do better than I could. But every time I imagined her sitting alone in that sunlit room, I returned. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, things began to change. Samina started asking me to help her in small ways, sorting old photos, organizing the kitchen, walking with her to the market in the afternoon light. These tasks were ordinary, but they created rhythm, and rhythm brought stability. She began to talk more, not just about Ayan, but about herself, about dreams she had set aside, fears she never shared, and the loneliness that had crept into her life long before her son's passing. In those moments I realized something uncomfortable. Samina was not just grieving her son, she was confronting years of quiet sacrifice that had left her without a clear sense of self. Ayan had been her center, her purpose, her daily reason to wake up. Losing him meant losing her identity as well. Understanding this made me see her not just as my friend's mother, but as a person standing at the edge of a life she did not recognize. The house changed too. Windows were opened wider. Sunlight was welcomed instead of avoided. Plants were moved closer to the light. Small changes, but symbolic ones. The air felt lighter, even when sadness lingered. Grief did not disappear, but it learned to coexist with moments of calm. One afternoon, while organizing Ayan's old notebooks, Samina found a list he had written years ago. It was filled with simple hopes, like wanting his mother to travel someday and wanting his friends to look after each other. Reading it felt like receiving a message from the past, one filled with quiet intention. Samina held that paper close, tears falling freely, but her face held something new alongside the pain: determination. From that day on, she began making plans. Small ones at first, like joining a daytime walking group, visiting a distant cousin, or learning something new online. Each plan was a step forward, a reclaiming of space in the world. Watching her grow stronger reminded me that kindness does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it is just staying when leaving would be easier. As for me, I changed too. Being there for Samina forced me to confront my own avoidance of deep connection. I realized how often I hid behind busyness to avoid vulnerability. Sitting with someone in pain, without distractions, taught me that presence is a skill, one that requires patience and humility. It also taught me that helping others can quietly heal parts of yourself you did not know were broken. Months passed, marked by bright days and slow progress. Samina smiled more often, not because she had forgotten her loss, but because she had learned to carry it differently. The house no longer felt like a shrine to grief. It felt like a home again, filled with memory, yes, but also with life. Near the end of that season, as we sat together in the afternoon light, I felt a deep sense of gratitude, not for the pain we endured, but for the connection it forged. In staying, I had found purpose. In offering companionship, I had discovered the quiet strength of human kindness. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of someone you stayed for or someone who stayed for you, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and engage with the channel. Your interaction helps spread stories that remind us we are not alone in our struggles. Before the ending, special request to comment one word that represents kindness or hope for you today. The truth is, none of us are meant to face our darkest days alone. Sometimes all it takes to change a life is choosing to stay, choosing to sit in the light of an ordinary day, and choosing to remind someone that even in loss, they still matter. And in doing so, we often discover that we matter too.